right.
Let's go. Whiskey and Wisdom After Dark. Here we are. I'm Donnie, your host, and right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, with Justin Love and Russell Thompson down in Texas, outside of Bastrop and in Bastrop. So tell me, boys, start off with what are we drinking? We got to know. You know, what's the syrup of the day?
I'm drinking Coors Light, and I found my long lost Yeti because it's about 101 degrees out here still. I got a giant fan in front of me. You can't see it, but it's going to stick to the cold beer. Just got out of this heat, so keeping it light.
Yeah, you got
Not
some
Bud
heat
Light,
down there.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, what do you got, buddy? Uh-oh. Can you hear him?
I can't hear him.
We can't
I
hear
think
you,
we
Justin.
lost him.
Hey, let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you now.
Okay, so oh fuck! I just spilled my garage oil all over me. Fucking
Now you
party
got garage
foul
oil
like a
pants.
motherfucker. Ain't this some bitch? Anyway, a little garage oil, and then chasing it down with a bit of Modelo.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
That's some fucking shit. I just wasted a complete fucking glass. Now my shorts are all wet.
Party foul. Party foul. Yeah, it's you guys got it hot down there right now, don't you?
It's blazing.
Yeah,
we were
even-
getting the heat, and then we had some storms come from the north. Normally they come west. Man, they came through today, and we had torrential floods everywhere. So, but anyway, I'm drinking some Weller Special Reserve. Had a couple more bottles come in this week, so I'm taking it nice and easy with some Special Reserve.
Nice. Well, I broke into my garage oil stash. I've got like 6 or 7 bottles of this shit, and I'm like, well, I guess I can open one. So,
yeah, I know we talked earlier about going deep in the conspiracy wells and getting some stuff, but before we get into that, I do want to jump into the Supreme Court's decision recently today that they announced abolishing some of the admissions for colleges for race, and if you look at it, there's a lot, it's pretty much split down party lines. If you're leaning left, then you think that they did wrong, and if you're leaning right, you think they probably chose correctly. And it is a conservative based court system. Yeah. Overturning a 2003 verdict, I believe is when it was. The interesting thing on it that I think is, if you look at the admissions of some of the schools right now, African Americans are by far getting more admitted than whites and Orientals, and that the whites and the Orientals were the ones complaining that they weren't able to get in because of this. I'll be honest, I don't have a dog in that race. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to it. It kind of shocked me that it came up, and it definitely shocked me that it went through. But listening to it all day on some media outlets such as Twitter and different things there, it's really the arguments are very interesting. The one that really stuck out to me, though, is some of the left is crying that without these admission standards, African American people can't get in on merit. And that just, and there were some people from the Biden administration that said it. They said, without this, they aren't going to get in because they can't cut it. And I was just like, wow, you're really saying that they're beneath you because of their skin color. And that is astonishing to me that they're still able to say that in this day and age and not just get hammered for being a racist. I mean, Biden has obviously said it, in the 70s and 80s, and when he calls them monkeys and says that
racial jungles.
But I was stunned to hear people, and it wasn't just one person, there was a few that said, without this, they can't get in based on merit alone. And
what blows me away is that that even all the the African Americans on the Democrat side are jumping to that, and it's just amazing. You basically saying, "Hey, my race is stupid. We're not as smart as other races." Just like Joe Biden said, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. I believe that's what he said, insinuating that the other races aren't as intelligent. Well, I'm a white person, but I always think that Asian people are smarter than we are. So I don't know. And there's some very intelligent African Americans. It's this, to me, it's an anti-racist decision by the Supreme Court, because they're basically, and I saw a grid today from Harvard University that basically the top tier people with their SATs and their credentials, the top tier, only 7% of whites were getting in, only 12% of Asians, like 50% of African Americans. And then you go down the grid, and like if you're in the fourth prong of that, based on your merit and your test scores, there was like over 7% getting in that are African American. So the fourth best candidate is African Americans getting in over the first of the white and the second of the Asian. And to me, it's you know, Dr. Martin Luther King said it's the content of your character, and I think a lot of that just has to do with, he was talking about merit and your credentials, and this thing was racist from the get go. Just like the voting rights bill we talked about, they'd say, "Oh, African Americans can't get access to an ID." Bullshit. They can too, and they're smart enough to do it. It's just racist to insinuate that.
Sure.
You know, it's like Donnie said, I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog in a fight, or I don't have a dog in this fight either. This, to me, it all boils down to just the individual themselves. I mean, whether or not he or she wants to apply themselves to put forth the effort to, to perform to the best of their abilities legitimately. Don't try and buck the system, or don't try and find a back door. That doesn't work. For me, it makes absolutely no sense. But then everything that this current administration has done from day one has not made sense. I mean, look at today or yesterday. The paper president himself, made a statement on national television that we've had zero inflation in the month of July. Bitch, we're still in fucking June. I mean, it's time. Someone come and grab your pawpaw, because he done shit himself again, and he's making us look even worse. It's not fair to him. It is not fair to him for them to put him through this. And I was seeing an interview with Alex Jones, of all people, and he was saying how what they have to do to literally get him to perform.
I saw that today.
There's a lot of medication.
They basically have to give him speed so he can give a speed to put him out there, and it's still not working.
Adderall.
At this point, he is virtually a puppet.
He even said in a press conference that he shit his pants when he was doing one of his mumbles.
As he was walking off.
I told somebody the other day that he's the perfect guy because he's just an empty suit, and he's not going to give them any pushback. He's just going to do whatever he's told to do, because he doesn't know what day it is or how to complete a sentence anymore. So he's perfect for whoever's pulling the strings, which is George Soros. We know who it is.
I want to read this statement real quick. This is from White House Democrat and former field organizer to elect Joe Biden to the White House, Erica Marsh, writes, "Today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on Black people. No Black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty." She's not only saying they won't succeed in college, but any merit-based system. I mean, if that's not the most racist thing I've heard in the last year, somebody needs to step up and say something different.
Well, in the longest, go ahead.
Well, that's basically
Listen, go.
That's basically telling the world. That's basically telling the world and telling each individual black individual, both men and women, that you will never amount to nothing. That's basically what that is saying, and it is absolutely disgusting. It's heartbreaking in a lot of ways, because I have a lot of black friends. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and boast about some bullshit like, if you don't vote for me, then you're black, that kind of bullshit. But we all have black friends, and I know have black friends that are very, very intelligent. I look to a few of them to get information, and for someone like that to say something to that nature, that's not cool, man. It really isn't.
Do you think she'll get
Well,
any blowback from the left on
No.
that? Like,
none,
the ladies on
none.
the View got to say
Zero.
something, right? I mean,
Gavin Newsom came out and said essentially the same thing. If y'all didn't hear that, he basically said the same thing, that it was, racist to have somebody get into a school based on merit. But if you go back and look at the state of California, they've had this law in place since 2008. The same law basically in California that they just outlawed up in Massachusetts and all these other universities. It was because it was an unnamed lawsuit from a bunch of students that didn't get into Harvard. And basically the law in California says that it has to be merit based. And to take it a step further in society, when you're talking about this affirmative action stuff, look at the NFL, look at the Rooney Rule. You got the Rooney Rule where basically you can't hire a coach that you want to hire until you interview an African-American coach. But what if you're that African-American coach and just like they just hired Sean Payton in Denver, right? He's the best coach available. He's a Super Bowl champion. You know you're going to hire the guy, but I'm going to bring in, let's just say, Lovie Smith, a black guy, to interview him just because you have to interview him. But how insulting to that man is that you're just basically being the token black guy that has to go in there and interview for a job, knowing up front that you're not going to get it to make a rule. To me, that is a disservice to that human being, knowing that you don't have a chance at a job. But I'm sorry, I have to interview you because of the Rooney Rule because you're black. That's an insult to that person. And I wouldn't, me personally, if that was me, I wouldn't even interview for the job. But it's just that type of stuff it's just so insulting because there's so many qualified African Americans that do so many different things and that are so talented, so intelligent. There's so many, like, as far as black coaches, and the Rooney Rule comes from the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I enjoy the hell out of listening to him and watching how he coaches his team. He's one of the top 5 best coaches in the NFL. He's great. There's been a lot of them. I hate the Steelers. I'm a Cowboy fan, but I got to give the guy props. He's never had a losing season the entire time he's been there, and he's very articulate. He's very intelligent. But it's an insult to anybody that has to interview for a job. If Bill Belichick in his prime, if he was to leave the Patriots and want to go somewhere and says, I want to go to Miami, well, how would you like to be the black guy that they have to interview just to follow the rule before Bill Belichick? It's the same point. It's ridiculous. It's insulting to that person. And to me, it's racist. And I think today, this bill that was this decision was passed is anti-racist is what it is. If it's merit-based, everybody gets a fair shot, and that's the way it should be.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So, that being said, we can dive into some conspiracy theories. One big one that's going around right now is they're trying to keep Robert Kennedy Jr. out of the election based on how popular he's getting in social media type outlets. YouTube has removed a bunch of his videos where he was interviewed by Tyson and Theo Vaughn, and there was one where he was debating some doctors, and a lot of that's been pulled down, and it's hard to find any information on them. I mean, obviously, if you've seen the viral stuff that happened in the last week or two, he's out there doing push-ups and backflips, and they're saying, no current president we've had in the last 30 years is able to do that. He's got his flaws. He has trouble exchanging his ideas in a timely manner, and that's just because of his speech impediment. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But do you see big government rallying against him like they did against Trump, and trying to deplatform him and make sure that he's not capable of getting the vote.
Well, I listened to Tucker Carlson the other day, basically on this exact subject, and that was actually right before we did the podcast last week. And Tucker Carlson, they're going to come at him harder than they came at Trump, because the amount of information that this man has based on his family tree and the things that he's seen and the people that he's been around and the circles that he's been in with the pharmaceutical industry, with the industrial war complex, and with everything else, this is the last person that they want out in front getting any type of publicity, because it exposes the deep state and the Illuminati in on so many different levels and so many different directions, whether it be pharmaceuticals, whether it be the industrial war machine, whether it be the assassination of his father or his uncle, or the plane crash of his cousin. He knows all about it. And the last thing that the CIA and the FBI and the people that are still pulling and pushing the strings and pushing the buttons, they don't want this guy out there. I'm surprised he hasn't been off or unalived, because
Epstein,
he hasn't been Epstein yet, because and maybe it's because he, like you said, he's very careful what he does and where he goes. So
he is, but I also think that he can bring a lot to the table that would scare both parties. And to be honest, I think that I don't know. I don't see them coming at him like they do Trump, because there's just an all out hatred and just a vitriol for Trump. I think they are underestimating RFK, because he's come out and said, without actually saying, that the CIA did murder JFK. The CIA did murder his father. The CIA and Hillary and the Clintons themselves did have his cousin
have the plane shot down.
And then he said, without saying things in regards to 9/11, things in regards to the Oklahoma City bombing. He can bring a lot to the table that I think would scare both parties. Will he make it? I don't think so. I think they are going to find anything and everything, or any way and every way to make sure that one of two things is going to happen. They're going to push anything and everything as far as they can to make sure that Biden is there again, because they don't want Kamala. She's already proved herself that she's just a worthless piece of shit. All that she's good for is just tying a mattress on her back and keeping it at that. That's how she got the job to begin with anyway, where she began. But I don't know, man. I really don't. It's going to get interesting the next few months, especially through the summer. I think a lot of things are going to come out on both sides that I think are going to start to open a lot of eyes. You already see the mainstream media already turning on Biden. They're reporting all this shit on him in a negative light. So there's no telling what's going to happen in the next few months.
They're teeing up Gavin Newsom is what they're doing.
Yeah, they're trying to prop him up. It's not working too well. He took a bunch of heat this week on a podcast and looked like a buffoon, trying to defend his positions. That said, I think Trump scares both parties more, and you're seeing a few people rally behind him, but they realize if he gets in again, he may dismantle everything. He may just start with the FBI and dismantle it. CIA right behind it. DOJ coming in strong third.
Department of Education. He said that as well.
Yeah,
I think what will happen if Trump gets back in there, which it probably will happen, but if it does indeed happen, his circle is going to be hand chosen this time. They're not going to be the ones that they were here already, so let's just go with them.
Oh no, I think one of the first things he'll do. I think one of the first things he'll do is he'll reach out to somebody like Elon Musk and say, okay, how can I run this company efficiently with as little people as possible? And Elon can definitely do it. God, he cut Twitter by 75%, and it's run better than it's ever had.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
love him or
surprised
hate him,
if,
results are results.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone or a cabinet to the likes that we've never seen. So you'd have someone like Elon, Tucker, possibly even Hannity, and just folks like that in particular positions. That, and it wouldn't be your lifelong politicians. It would be the circle that he should have chosen to begin with.
I think you're right, and I think one of the things that when he got in there that he might have been, he knew it was corrupt. He didn't know how corrupt or how
Yeah,
deep
he didn't know how deep the
he
well
didn't know how
was.
deep the swamp.
Yeah.
It's not the swamp in Louisiana that's 6 foot deep. It's the Mariana Trench,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
he was a little naive to how corrupt and how far and how many layers of that onion that there were. And
Yeah.
I think now that they have attacked him on so many fronts, and he saw a lot, and they kept a lot from him. They basically, he was even saying they tried to start a war behind his back while he was in office in Ukraine. They tried to pull this shit when he was in office so they could say he started a war. And if you think back about 20 years, Donald Trump was right out front, not even even had an inkling of being in politics, was completely against the Iraq war. He was front and center saying, "Hey, we don't need to do this. This is terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
This is what's wrong
nobody
with our
wants to go to
country."
war. Nobody in their right mind wants to go to war. We'll say that. Well, let's cut it there, and I'm gonna give each of you a chance to grab one conspiracy theory, and we'll talk about it. And you get to choose. I've got mine. I'm sure you both have one. But you only get one. We're gonna go deep into each one, and see how far the rabbit hole goes. I mean, let's it can be off the wall, aliens, adrenochrome, whatever you want. We're gonna go deep tonight. So Justin, I'll let you go first, buddy.
I think mine, and I hope I'm not stepping on toes or possibly, digging into someone else's shit, but Hollywood is a vampire, and it has been the center of mystique. It has been the center of mystery. It has been the center of mayhem, the center of murder. I mean, it's been the center of so many different things, but I think you look at all these people that, and I always go back to, and I don't know why, but I always go back to Rosemary's Baby. Her husband was a struggling director, producer, whatever the hell he was, in the movie, and then he decides to sell his soul. And the rest is history. Yeah, I mean, we all know how that one ended. It can go back as far as Robert Johnson, who met the devil at the crossroads, couldn't play a lick before he suddenly. I mean, he would be booed out of town when he would go and try and play. Comes back weeks later, and then he's this fucking absolute phenomenon, and he's just a blues fucking legend to this day. Bob Dylan has even said things to the extent of, when you sell your soul, it just goes so far from music to movies, actors, musicians, whatever the case may be. These people start with nothing, and then all of a sudden, overnight, they're the whole overnight sensation, where that comes from. I think that. I do. I think that Hollywood is sick. I think it's twisted. I think it takes the innocence out of a child and makes them into something that they never really wanted to be. I mean, you take, for instance, your Corey Feldman. I mean, Corey Feldman tried to expose that shit years ago, and I'm surprised he's still alive, to be honest. I mean, it's probably one of the largest, if not the largest, pedophile ring on the planet. There's and this all is, it's a huge connect the dots. Would it all go back to Epstein? No, I think it goes deeper than Epstein. It goes deeper than Epstein. It goes deeper than Harvey Weinstein. It goes deeper than Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, take for instance, just in the news lately, J.P. Morgan has come out and settled with every fucking victim that came forward trying to expose Jeffrey Epstein. So what does that mean? That means that these people, these victims and their relatives, and their not even born relatives yet, can even fucking talk about this shit. So these poor kids who are now adults, most of them are now adults, will have to suffer for the rest of their fucking life. Money doesn't buy everything. Money does not buy everything. Let's make sure we get that clear. It does pay a lot of bills, and it does make the world go round, but it doesn't buy you everything. And I mean, the innocence was stripped from these young boys and these young girls years ago. I mean, look at the Island Boys. The Island Boys were this phenomenon for 2 or 3 days, maybe. And they had that Island Boy bullshit all over TikTok and this, that, and the other. Trace it back, and they were fucking Epstein's, little bitch boys. And it's absolutely sickening how deep this goes. And then it's not just in Hollywood. I mean, you can transfer this over into politics, into professional sports, because everything that we're mentioning here, from Hollywood to professional sports to politics to actors, musicians, whatever, they were all on that flight at one fucking time, if not more than once. And then it's coming full circle when you look at what's transpired, say with Taylor Swift. She come out completely innocent, and now she's this fucking just coked out, just trailer trash whore is what she looks like. Sam Smith, look at him. He was this clean cut kid, and then last year at the Grammys, he's all chubba wubba and just performing this satanic type ritual, and it's blatantly in your face now. I mean, it is Rosemary's Baby 2023 is what it is. There's no longer this little crib that's in the corner with an upside down cross, and they're rocking the fucking crib back and forth to keep the fucking kid quiet. It's just blatantly in your face. Everything that we see, from TikTok to YouTube to any search engine that we use, and then our children feed off of this. And it's absolutely amazing how we as parents, not all of us, but we as parents collectively have failed our children, and we're slowly losing grip on the reality, and we're slowly losing grip on our offspring, to where our kids are going to be forever fucking lost. And it's a scary fucking thing to think about. I'm sitting here, and I constantly, when I'm up and down the stairs and I'm looking at my 8-year-old's iPad as he's on his iPad, and I walk by, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is he looking at now? Because I want to know. I mean, if you don't get involved, then your kids are going to be lost forever. And that's what this is all about. It is blatantly in our faces. They don't give a fuck anymore. They don't care. I mean, it's all about, I mean, hell, not to, roast the LGBTQ 1, 2, 3 to the squared, whatever the fuck it is this week. But I come across the video the other day. It was a big rally. And again, we're all free to protest. That's the beauty of this country and the freedoms that we have, but do it in the right way. But these people were sitting there and they were chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're here to take your children."
Coming for your
But
children.
what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, what in the fuck? And I have very, very good gay friends, and I'm like, dude, seriously. And they're like, that's not us.
Yeah.
And I know it's not.
No,
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
And I think, you talk about Hollywood and the media. It's always been the dog that wags the tail. Hollywood will be out front of something controversial, something technological, something to, and a lot of people say it's prepared, the Matrix, did they bring us the Matrix to prepare us for the Matrix? Did they did they bring us, you know, some of these different ideas to prepare us for it? Are they glorifying Dahmer to promote more Dahmers? Are they, you know, and that's a sneaky question. And I mean, it can easily be, you know, there's no way you can debunk it. You can't say that, you know, Hollywood doesn't try to push the limits on
and
what
try
is
to
what's correct or what is, you know, moral, and try to influence, you know, as you were saying, Satanism, or, you know, chaos, or social injustices, or moving the needle. And it's not just Hollywood. I mean, it's Hollywood and the media. I mean, we're seeing it with corporations, Target, Bud Light, things like that. And Bud Light now is pretty much just sunk. I mean, I will be surprised if they don't have to do some sort of sell off or restructuring. They got hit in the last 24 hours. Mulvaney came out and said the only thing worse than hiring a transgender and is not backing the transgender whenever they take heat. So she basically just said, you know, you didn't protect me. He didn't protect, you know, he said you didn't protect me. And now you have the LGBTQ after Bud Light, you have the conservatives after Bud Light. There's nobody left. I mean, you got both sides against you now. You're going to have to do something and restructure. Like,
well, I mean, Bud Light
CEO came out and just completely balked at it and wouldn't answer the question, and that made both sides feel like he was just pandering. So, but I think Hollywood has always wagged that, you know, been the dog wagging the tail, trying to get society to follow along. And, you know, I don't think that's as much conspiracy as anything.
Yeah. You know, I think it's, you know, it is time for, you know, they always speak about the Great Reset. It is time for a reset, but not with what they think and what they want. Because I mean, that would never work.
Yeah.
With what they see as the Great Reset, that would never work. You know.
All right. Well, Russell, I know you got a good one. I'm pouring another drink just for yours.
Well, so
let me just finish it. I'm just going to finish this bottle just for you, Russell, because I know where this is going. Well, it's a good one.
I had never heard anything about this until this week. I knew that Garth Brooks was a liberal idiot. I know he played at Biden's inauguration. I knew that he had his bar in Nashville that nobody showed up for the beginning of it, for the grand opening, because of the stance with the Bud Light thing that we were just talking about. But I heard some stuff today, and it's starting to gain some traction and some legs. And apparently there's things going around the interwebs that Garth Brooks is a serial killer. Have you heard this?
I have. I've actually.
So apparently there's documentation. There are, if you look at his tour dates and you look at certain dates that he's had when he's touring, there's like an uptick in missing people. Mm-hmm. I talked to a friend of mine who knows Garth personally, knew him at his heyday, was actually on the road with him. And he was like, dude, this is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. I said, but do you know? He's like, I said, how do you know? He's like, I don't know. But now there's people showing up to his concerts with signs.
Where's my kid?
Okay. Where's my kid? And where are the bodies, Garth? You know, and it's funny because you look at Garth Brooks and his genre in country music and his stance for, and all the old country guys, the Alan Jacksons, the Travis Tricks, these guys, they're all standing up against all this shit, this Bud Light, this woke bullshit. Garth Brooks is out there front and center saying, because he's standing with the other mass murderers. He's standing with the Joe Bidens. He's standing with the Hillary Clintons. Maybe there's some legs to it. I don't know. I don't it's pretty interesting stuff. And then when they come out and say, no, this is legit, there are more people coming up missing when this guy's in town for a tour or whatever he's doing. Then there was some interviews that I saw where he was talking about, I would rather be a killer and some stuff like that. I don't remember what show it was, but
Well, that wasn't him.
I
That
saw
was
it.
Chris.
So,
Which I don't even, he had kind of fallen off when the Chris Gaines thing came out. And I had never, honestly, never once listened to one song. I didn't really know. I know it was for a movie that never came out. But and I watched the video the other day of Chris Gaines, and I'm like, it's almost hard to see Garth. You're like, who's that? But what do you guys think about that? Tell me something that I don't know, because I just heard about it this week, but
so
I thought it was really
let me-
interesting.
I've known about it. I've known about it for about 3 or 4 years. If you didn't know, Tom Segura, on one of his podcasts with Bert Kreischer, mentioned it. You know, he had heard that, you know, this was something, and he said it. You know, he brought it up. We'll say he brought it up.
What's that guy?
Well,
Theo Vaughn?
Well, hang on. No, he brought it up like 4 years ago. And
no, I know. I saw one with
Theo this week. He was on Theo this week. I'll get to that. He brought it up about 4 years ago with him and Bert on Two Bears, one of their first episodes. And it may not even been Two Bears, maybe been on Rogan or something. But anyway, it got around, and in the comment section, people started really ripping Tom, which all the Tom supporters really came out against the people ripping him. And the next thing you know, you got signs at his concerts. And he talks about it. He's like, you know, I think it's really strange that this happened. And, you know, he talked about a year and a half ago, he let out that, you know, Garth did know about it. And, you know, they wasn't very happy that he had mentioned it. And Garth is aware that it's a big conspiracy theory and it's a rumor. And he was very upset. And then he was on Theo Vaughn this week, and he told Theo that, yes, about 2 weeks ago, Garth finally blocked him on Instagram because
I saw that.
he would randomly just post something funny, you know, and just trying to be funny. And whether he's trying to be funny or not, you know, Garth definitely did not think it was funny. You know, it's definitely an interesting thing. And Garth said something about, you know, well, Tom blew out his knee and broke his arm. And he was like, oh, yeah, that, you know, there's some karma. Yeah, there's some karma to it. So Garth has kind of played along into this too. You know, that's his thing. But, you know, it's definitely an interesting one. And the case has been made, you know, about it. But if you haven't seen, there's a Facebook post that Garth did quite a few years ago that started all this. I'll share it with you guys on the text thread. But this is where it all started. And hey, conspiracy theories have been proven more right than wrong. So who am I to say it's right?
Especially the last few years. I mean, everything that you're crazy conspiracy theorists. And there's been times a few years, if you just said some of this shit to me, even to me, 2-3 years ago, I would be like, what the fuck are you? This is nuts. But it just over and over and over, it comes out to be
the thing.
That's
man.
What it is.
The more that you begin to question everything and do your own research and develop your own opinion, it's an interesting thing. Now, Garth Brooks, I mean, I saw the flight log for Epstein. I'm not saying he wasn't on there, but then I'm not saying he was on there, because they used a lot of fucking what do you call them? Not acronyms, but synonyms or whatever for their initials. So I don't know. It's a possibility.
And I hate. I don't know about you guys, but Garth's music in the '90s, man, I loved it. I loved his music. Still like.
Well, look at
it's just hard. It's just hard to listen to.
Still the largest selling solo act of all time for country music. It's just he can't. It's you can't deny that.
Miss there for a while.
You know, you can't deny that the guy is talented. I mean, now he can't write lyrics for shit because he doesn't write those songs. But I mean, he's a hell of an entertainer, and that's what he is. He's an entertainer. And it's just like Elvis. Elvis wasn't. He was an entertainer. He wasn't a fucking king of rock and roll, but that's another argument for another day. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I know this. There were some girls so young, and girls and boys at that island, Epstein Island, that fucking R. Kelly wouldn't have even pissed on. It's just nuts, man.
Sure.
But no, I'm sure there's going to be more of this that comes out, because now that it's starting to gain some traction, and we never know, like we keep saying, these conspiracy theories. It's funny how they maybe, and I heard something the other day. I was listening to Andrew Wilkow. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's on Patriot on Sirius. When now, instead of saying it's a conspiracy theorist, just call it fucking current events. He's like,
Sure.
These aren't conspiracy theorists anymore. The whole thing with the Trump Russia hoax, that's just current events. That's not a hoax. The Wuhan lab, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's current events. That's things that are happening. The Hunter Biden email and the laptop and the Biden crime family corruption, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just current events. That's just what's happening in the world right now. And that's
Sure.
the way he was saying it. And it made a lot of sense. He said it, and he was a lot more articulate with it than I am, obviously. But if you've never listened to him, he's on between 11 and 1 on Sirius channel 125 on Patriot. He's on before Hannity. He's awesome.
One thing I've learned that in any news story that's released, or anything that you hear, be it on the news or the radio or via Twitter or whatever the case may be, I give it the 72 to 96 hour rule, because what comes out today, in 72 to 96 hours later, it's going to be a completely different fucking story. So I'm like, oh yeah, I heard that, but I'm not buying into that. Give it 72 hours. And people are like, what? I'm like, just give it 72 hours. And then something else comes out. And then it's, like you said earlier, it just grows legs. And it does. It becomes something completely different. And it's just amazing the amount of individuals, both on the right and the left, that when news story breaks, and then immediately someone is instantly posting something to, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or Truth Social, whatever the case may be, someone's instantly posting something and giving their 2 cents on something that it was fucking clickbait. 99% of the time it's clickbait, but they look into it and they're like, oh, yep, that's got to be true. So they instantly just they become a keyboard commando. And I've got a relative who's very, very good about this, constantly posting, what are those things on fucking Facebook where is it a reel, not your story, or is it a story? Same fucking thing, but all these different fucking pictures and memes and posts, and then they're always throwing their 2 cents in, or they'll post something. And this is coming from a highly intelligent, very educated individual, but yet they missed the boat on common sense. They really did. And they follow the pack, and they don't think for themselves, and they're just one of the many. I mean, this is an individual who still, I saw a post not too long ago where still masked up in, where the fuck, I think it was either Chicago or New York, and the caption read something along the lines, still following the guidelines, you all should too, or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't understand people. I really don't. This is where her mom and dad probably should have swallowed. I don't know.
Well, that brings me to me and my conspiracy theory. And it's one that's kind of close to my heart because of physics and some of the things involved in it. Do you guys know what HARP is? HAARP.
Heard of it,
No.
yes.
All right. So HARP is an acronym.
I like your cup.
HARP is an acronym that stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. So this was a research program in Alaska that was supposed to be, and it was done by the U.S. military, Department of Defense, for the Air Force. And it was designed originally to observe the upper ionosphere and how solar rays, solar flares could disrupt communications, could disrupt radar, different things like that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, someone leaked in 2012 that it was used more for global weather dominance programs. What the military described as their stated goal of achieving a full spectrum dominance by the year 2020 and owning the weather by 2025. And it's documented. You can go read it. It's there. They have a U.S. patent for it, and other documentary to support it on the electromagnetic weapons. They invested about $300 million that we know of for the HARP station in Alaska, and this was in the early 2000s. They acknowledged that they did experiment trying to control weather through electromagnetic frequencies and fired pulses.
Wasn't this the
directed
one
energy beams?
Clouds?
But the problem was when they were trying to control the weather, these energy beams would bounce back off of the ionosphere and come down, and they would trigger volcanoes, earthquakes, things like that. And that's where it started. The big news came out in 2010. The Venezuelan got hit with
No. I don't
a
even.
huge earthquake in Haiti, and Hugo Chavez claimed that the HARP program triggered it. So it got huge, big publicity, and it was shut down in 2014. It was managed by DARPA. So if you don't know what DARPA is one of the top defense programs in the world for new technology. We have since admitted that we're not operating that HARP station, but we haven't given up on some of these technologies. The biggest rumor, conspiracy theory, is that it's going on in Antarctica. And that's one of the reasons you can't go to Antarctica, because all of these, different sites to do this type of stuff is. It's physics involved in it are very simple. You've heard the saying, a butterfly flaps its wings in Asia and creates a hurricane in the US. The same principle applies. If you can project enough energy to create a thunderstorm, or to create a wind mass to move in a certain direction against current, you can create tornadoes or whatever. It would literally be the best weaponized ability of any country. Let's say that you could create a severe thunderstorm over Ukraine right now, and lightning storm like you haven't seen in 20 years. The ability for them to then piggyback on that, a weapon strike while systems are down, is incredible. It gives you stealth beyond stealth, because you can literally knock out power supplies with this electrical storm and then piggyback in with strategic strikes to keep them down. So it's a very interesting conspiracy theory. It has been delved into on numerous websites and physics channels and things like that. Would our government do something like this? Oh, you bet 100% they would. I mean,
100%.
They would definitely do something like this. The thing that most people like me that look at it go, why was the Air Force using it? Well, it's an air dominance program. If your fighters can fly behind the wave of thunderstorms, and you can't get past that radar because that thunderstorm's coming, then the thunderstorms drops and your planes are just there. Oh shit, here they are. We missed a full battalion of B-2 bombers, and now they're here. You get first strike capability without any hindrances. Like there's no way you can not see them coming. You could literally cover them front and back in weather patterns that couldn't be penetrated. So, but you guys have not heard of this, or is this one that's way too deep?
I've heard of some things about this. I've heard about, and maybe it's not along the same lines, but about like how you got the planes up in the sky with the chemicals creating, weather patterns. I don't know if that's the same. Yeah, I don't know if that's the same. Yeah, the vapor trails. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Similar, but yeah, that's more population control.
Sure. But I don't. Also, I was telling y'all a while back about the Joe Rogan interview with Michio Kaku, the world-renowned physicist, talking about the neurocomputer being able to basically create an equation to be able to create things like this. And if a country can develop that sort of technology, they can basically create any type of event that they want to with certain apparatuses in place to do it. That would be the biggest weapon that could ever be on a larger scale, even than what you were talking about. Hey, I can create a hurricane in the middle of the ocean using this technology. And then, like you said, hey, right behind it, here comes the cavalry.
Sure.
Not to mention the devastation that's created by the initial thing that you created. That's that type of technology being used in the wrong hands. I don't know if this is the same conversation that you're having, but
it's very similar. It's very similar. The stage one that he's talking about for our species would be control of the planet, using the planet not as a resource machine, meaning we're mining resources and using only those resources, but a resource generation, meaning we can control what resources are produced by the planet. We can control the planet atmosphere. We can control the storms. We can, hey, we need electricity. Let's create a thunderstorm and harness that electricity because it's a lightning bolt produces more kilowatts than a solar department. So you do it that way. But again, you have to harness it. You have to be able to control it and things like that. So
it's like Back to the Future, but actually having the accuracy and not having to use a time machine and know when the lightning strikes, right?
Yeah. Correct.
On the University of Alaska Fairbanks website, they are holding a summer school for polar aeronomy and radio science.
Sure.
Between August 1st and 10th. So
there's always something going on up there, but as much as that plays in, you have to understand both the Soviets and the United States have bases in respective areas close to the North Pole, but the South Pole is considered one of those, you can't put things there unless it's under the treaty. But how are you going to know? Who's going to fly out there? Because both the Russians and the U.S. have research bases there, and even the Germans had a research base there for a long time. So, Hitler sent a complete convoy down there, complete battalion to explore it because he knew something was there. So that's, a lot of people have said that there's all kinds of things underneath the ice there, and recently we dug, I think, 4 miles deep and found unheard of species that are living in the ice, and that's insane. I mean, yeah.
Did they find Megatron?
Yeah, I don't know, but they may have found Megalodon. So
good point.
Anyway, what else we got, boys? We got an FMK. I think Justin had an FMK from last week we didn't get to.
He did.
I type in fucking Antarctica conspiracies on Free Spoke.
Oh man, that's a deep one there.
Yeah, but nothing comes up. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, you gotta go to DuckDuckGo or Brave or something.
What are we doing now? FMK?
Yeah, didn't you have an
you
FMK
said
from
you
last
had one
week?
in the chamber last week.
I don't remember. I can't remember what it was.
I didn't do one because you said you did. So
Donnie had that one, and man, I cannot remember for the life of me who it was. It wasn't porn stars. It was, fuck. It was like
All right, I'll give you a
80s.
joke while you think about it. How do you
80s.
cure a ginger?
How do you what?
Cure a ginger.
How do you cure a ginger?
Cure a ginger.
Oh.
This is harsh. This is harsh.
Hmm.
Might get us kicked off, but screw it. Chemotherapy. Told you it was harsh. That's harsh, bro. Make all the hair go.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy.
Hey, sometimes my humor is very dark.
Good one.
That's my favorite kind of humor is dark humor.
Wow. I cannot remember for the life of me who I had on
Russell, what about you? You got one?
I didn't because a joke. No, I didn't. I don't.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
dad joke. I kind of came unprepared this one, and I figured we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants on this one. I don't know. Maybe it's because I miss Coach. I don't know.
No, no, you don't.
No, not really. I miss him about like a fucking bad case of crabs. So
Like Al Bundy said, with every bullet so far.
exactly.
It's a good one.
Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding, Coach. We love you. Come back, fucker. Not really.
Yeah, maybe he'll be back next week. Who knows? You can't go wrong there.
Here's a good one. Here's a good one. So if you get a fat person, typically this is an Al Bundyism, okay? So this is not original. But if you have a fat woman ever in your face and you say something about her weight, and she says, "How dare you say that to my face?" Say, "Well, I would say it to your back, but my car only has a half a tank of gas."
Okay. So I'll give you one, and I've kind of kept this one in the bucket for a while. I do a lot of sports betting. One of my best sports is tennis. So get your Google ready, and I'm going to give you some tennis stars, and we can see if you can find them. So
you know
first
what?
tennis star,
FMK here?
do what?
We're talking about an FMK here?
This is an FMK. Yeah, this is an FMK.
It's funny because I had thought of tennis stars at one time, but I'm like, you know what? Nah, maybe not.
No, you just said no on it. You gave up on it.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering if the ones that you're gonna pull out of your ass are gonna be the ones that I fucking just so happen to dream up in my head.
Well, now these are I wanted to give, I wanted to make sure that we gave the top women's tennis. I'm not going to go with just the hottest, because the hottest is very easy. Iga Swiatek is by far the number one player, but she's not the best looking. Let's just be real here. So we're gonna drop her because no. So next up on the list is the number 2. Her name is Ariana Sablinka. And I'll let you Google her. I mean, Iga no. I can't do it. Can't do it. Can't put you guys through that. So Ariana Sablinka. Then we're going to jump down to Jessica Pegula. Got Jessica?
Hell, I'm still trying to fucking whatever the Ariana fucking Sablinka. What I couldn't even spell her.
Aryna.
Yeah, that's not Ariana. That's Arena.
Well, okay. Arena. Sablinka.
Oh,
Jessica Pegula.
I already like this one. I don't even know who it is.
And Maria Sakkari. Sakkari.
What was the last one?
Maria, Maria Sakkari. Sakkari.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. Kill the first one, do the second, marry the third. The first one looks like a boy.
Ariana? You must have got a bad picture.
Maybe I did, but the third one was the winner.
I don't know. Fuck.
It was easier when you had Anna Kournikova and Maria Sharapova. That was a lot easier.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Jennifer Cipriani or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any way? I mean, I know it's fuck, marry, kill, but can we throw an option in there like to hate fuck all three at one time and then put a bullet in them? Or
I second that motion.
That's where I'm going with all these. I mean, god damn, what the fuck is that? Maria Sakkari net worth. She might need to get some money. Might need to get some money to fix that gap in her teeth, but I don't know. I don't. I'm lost on this one, man. I honestly am lost because there's one picture I'm looking at. It looks like a guy with a man bun, but it's her.
That's what I said.
That's probably Ariana. So she does wear her hair in a man bun all the time. If you can find one with her hair down, it's like you have to dig deep to see her without her hair in a bun.
Palatable.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Her fucking biceps are fucking bigger than mine.
Well, I mean, she's the number 2 ranked player in the world.
That's not saying much, J-Lo.
Bro, she's got a
fucking. Oh, he went there.
No. Nope, she's got an Adam's apple. I'm good. So I'll kill that one, the Maria girl.
I'll send you a pic. I'm gonna send you a picture. Or actually, do this. Google Ariana Sabalenka dressed up. She stepped out one night for an award ceremony in an orange dress. You can't miss it. It's the number 1 picture.
Is it see-through? What the fuck is that?
Just Ariana Sabalenka dressed up.
Yeah, I see the dress.
She does much better when her hair's not up.
Yeah, evidently she does much better when she's not playing tennis.
Well, yeah, most people do that as well.
So I'm killing that first one because she's got a fucking Adam's apple.
You think she's a guy?
That's what I thought.
The Maria Sakkari one, and I think I'll marry this one, and I'll bang the other one. I can't remember her name.
I think we're probably all in agreement on that.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, and for me it was a tough choice because Ariana, when she's dressed up, looks great. Pagula is about the same no matter what, but she's the older of the 3. But yeah, Maria has got.
Oh wow! Okay, well now that might change my mind. Now that I got your pick.
Oh, so you saw the orange outfit?
Yeah. That looks totally different though.
I know, right? So when that broke, that actual picture came out, I think about
was that after her transition or
no, this was I think it was like a year ago and it was for some sort of award ceremony, and when it hit, people were like, whoa, she didn't look like that on the tennis court. And I'm like, well, what did you expect? Like, she's not dressed up, but she can pop. She can make it pop. But
that
on the tennis court,
she
wears
like
the man bun
at 2 a.m. at the bar versus 7 a.m. the next day.
I'll say this. She always has the tennis court look where it's, strictly business, no pompous circumstance. She's not out there trying to be, Venus or Coco or any of those people that are dressed up and really showing off their assets. She's there for business,
I think next week we need to do golf.
Okay. All right. I'll leave that up to you, buddy.
Okay, I'll do that. I've already got one.
All right. Fair enough.
Is it
Well,
the
boys,
page?
give us some parting words. Justin, what do you got?
Man, I really don't have anything. I don't think. Go to Russ. I'll find something.
All right, Russ, what we got? Parting shot.
Family versus friends. Okay, just because somebody's your blood doesn't always mean they have your best interest at heart. And they say the term blood is thicker than water. That is not always the case. Look at your family and your friends the same way, and how they treat you, how they would defend you, and how they influence your life. Look at them as people. Don't look at them as friends or family, because to my notion, it's the same thing, but it's kind of like what we're talking about, the content of your character.
Mhm.
People are people. There's people that are just as fucked up and messed up in your family, and there's people that aren't related to you in any way, shape, form, or fashion that would do anything. And if you told them you killed somebody, they'd ask you, where's the body at, so I can help you bury it. So your friends can be just as important to you as your family. and I'm just saying that from personal experience, that just because somebody's family, don't give them a free pass for being a piece of shit.
Sure.
Right.
I
True
agree.
story. True story.
Justin, you ready, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I got one. I mean, to kind of go along with what Russ said, the way I look at it is the world itself, as we know it, is already, fucked enough. We don't need to continue fucking it even worse. Be a positive influence. Be someone that create positivity. Be someone that people can look back on and be like, you know what, that makes sense, or he made sense with what he did, or he made sense with what he said. Be a positive influence. I mean, don't be a critic. I mean, the world has enough of those already. So
I like it. Mine I kind of got from a comedian named Ron White. If you don't know Ron, he's funny. He was telling a story on stage at Joe Rogan's place, and it really hit me that, there's a fine line between day and a really shitty day. And that fine line is really like, it's really bad to have a sweaty ass crack, but it's a lot worse to shit yourself. So you could have a wet ass crack from sweat, or you could have a wet ass crack from shit. And one is much worse than the other. He said
true.
It was the 16th of a second difference.
I saw that. He just popped up on
stage. He didn't say it that way, but the way it hit me, it was funny because when I was listening to it at the time, I was outside working. I had a sweaty ass crack, and I was like, "Wait."
He was talking about when you get old, and when you're younger, you have that shutoff valve.
I gotta worry about that stuff now.
You don't have to worry about it when you get older. That shutoff valve's a little bit longer, and next thing you know, you shit your pants.
Then you have to reach back there and check. You don't want that. You don't want that as a shitty hand.
From my experience, you don't have to check. You already know.
Yep. All right, boys. Y'all have a good week. We will see you next week. Thanks again, everybody, for watching Whiskey and Wisdom After Dark. This is Donnie, Justin, and Russell. We'll see you next week. Coming to you back again, River, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. We're on all of them, and even check us out on TikTok. I think we're still there as well. So
or YouTube until they kick us off.
we'll probably get kicked off this week. We said way too much shit. We'll see y'all later.